This is Alan Farley from FX Empire. Please subscribe to the FX Empire YouTube channel. We're going to talk about momentum oscillators. The momentum oscillator is a technical tool that issues a signal when a price move or trend is about to start. The momentum oscillator usually fluctuates between upper and lower bands rather than trending like a price pattern. Now we're going to look at 5 oscillators using the FX Empire Advanced Charting program and see how they could help to improve your profitability in trading. Now we're going to use Apple on all 5 of these because it's pretty well known all around the planet, and we'll see how it interplays with these 5 indicators. First up, we're going to take a look at stochastic. Now using the function, the studies function, you type in Stoch, or I type in Stoch. You could use a drop-down list and go through the 100 or so indicators and pick up the stochastic, which is initially set to a 14 period, which is just a little too slow for me. So I'll go in here on the settings function, speed that thing up to about 5 periods. Now the smoothing functions are taken care of automatically, so you don't have to put in additional numbers. But this is very, very close to a 533 stochastic, which I've used in my trading for more than 20 years. Now, the couple of things that stochastics does, number one, it's got 2 lines, and so there's going to be crossovers. You can see this crossover. Here's a bullish crossover. Here's a bearish crossover. Here's a bearish crossover. Here's a bullish crossover. And that moves a market from a buy cycle into a sell cycle and vice versa. Now, this isn't the same thing, again, as a buy or sell signal because looking up the price bars, there may be no opportunity. But it is telling you whether or not it's moving into a relatively strong period or a relatively weak period. You see, for example, we have a bearish crossover here, but all that happened was a trading range. And then it even though it's good to see when these big swings go from overbought conditions up here to oversold conditions down here, and we get a turn, there's no guarantees that you'll get a turn all the way down there, and you'll get, a lot of times when you get a crossover mid-range, that's a sign of unusual strength. If the crossover is a bullish crossover, I'm looking, here's an example of where you have a bearish crossover at a mid-range, and this is particularly bearish because it didn't make it all the way up to the overbought level. Did it produce a very good buyer-sell signal? No, it really didn't, but there was relative weakness here. You see the stock went down for about a week before it found buying interest. So this produces information, doesn't necessarily produce opportunity. One of the best ways to use a stochastic is in multiple time frames. You pull up a daily, weekly, or a monthly stochastic. Here, take a look at let's take a look at a weekly chart, and you see you have completely different divergence information and different stochastics. You take a look at stochastic moving up to an overbought and getting glued to is very typical of a trending market. As you can see, that was a very, very big trend in 2020, and another big one coming into the 4th quarter of 2019. This is also a very good feature on weeklies. Look when this stock went into a weekly sell cycle. It went into a weekly sell cycle, about 4 weeks before it posted an all-time high, but look how quickly price came down afterwards. So that's loss of momentum was very, very instructive in saying, well, this stock is overbought. Now it's giving me a sell cycle. I'm not gonna buy this breakout because this is good. This could go on for 8 or 12 or 10 weeks. Okay, let's move along. I'll go back to a daily, and we'll look at RSI, which many folks are familiar with. RSI. Okay, here we go. RSI. I got to clear the old one. Only produces a single line, and so it's kind of easier to use in some ways. And even though this is an RSI 14, which I think is fine, a nice common out of the box setting. It's showing at 20 and 80 levels for overbought and oversold, except back in the old days we used to use 30 and 70. And I think this is a question of markets too. You know, you take a look at Apple. The last time it actually was in overbought condition, supposedly was in August of 2020. But this area up here, it was getting pretty overbought after this rally. So it's again a function of what exactly you're looking at. See, if you take a look at this back on a weekly, look how it became weekly overbought up in this area and weekly overbought in this area, and very timely in terms of picking out tops. See that? It's always, and that's why they call it a forward-looking indicator, because it's actually giving you a turning point before price so that you could start to plan. You tighten up your stops. You take whatever you have to do to make sure that you either make more money or lose less money. So, but again, that's one of the great strengths of RSI is when it starts to turn up here at this overbought level. You can see how it's shaded on the advanced charting program. It's telling you to watch your back because the trend might be coming to an end. Okay, let's move on to another one. We're going to move on to I think yeah, money flow index. Let's take a look at money flow index. Go clear out the last study, and I think it's just be under either money or MFI. I can't remember which. Here, money flow index. Now, money flow index is very similar to an RSI. The difference being is that it also combines volume data along with price data. In other words, if in an MFI plot, if volume is decreasing while price is rising, and otherwise you would have a period of relative strength, that decreasing volume is going to impact the indicator and perhaps show a lesser reading or even a negative reading, even though the price is starting to go up. Now, again, you can see it produces interesting kinds of readings. This is on a weekly, and I think whenever you're dealing with volume indicators, I like using daily to start out with. And you can see on a daily here how few times it's gone over this 80% level. It just went over it now, which is very, very interesting. That's probably because there's been a big volume surge, but it won't produce those sort of shaded areas unless, well, here we have, here's a nice little spot where it came down to an oversold level or 20 level. You don't see it going much lower or much higher. And that was a very good signal for this little bottom followed by some relative strength, which could have added a few points. And also here we got a little turnaround. So these turnarounds are more important, and we don't have crossovers like we do in in stochastic. So you're relying on which direction it's moving in. If it's down, it's called negative money flow. If it's rising, it's called positive money flow. And again, the money flow, because it's able to do that because there's volume information, that if volume is increasing while price is rising, that's an indication of accumulation. So there's some similarities here with accumulation distribution indicator or an on-balance volume indicator. Okay, move on. Let's take a look at a real classic, and that is rate of change. We'll clear this out, and there's a couple ways to look at rate of change, but I think in this system, it's price rate of change, which is what it's called. Here it is. Now, price rate of change is exactly what it sounds like, except it runs the indicators we just looked at ran from these zero lines right here, from 0 to say 100. Rate of change starts at 0 and either goes negative or it goes positive depending on the price change over the period. Now, all the rate of change is doing, and this is a plot of 14 period rate of change, is it's taking this current bar and then it's looking back 14 bars. And if it's higher than it was 14 bars ago, that's going to make rate of change go up. And if it's lower than it was 14 bars ago, that's going to make rate of change go down. It also shows the trajectory of change. So this is a much more indication of a strongly trending market because we get a trajectory of price change over a period of time. And of course, that's the biggest move we see in Apple was in that August to September period when it sold off. That's the biggest move over a short period of time on the chart. Now here we have a very short burst of energy, and that was just about 6 or 7 days. But the trajectory, in other words, the angle of attack, as compared to say shallow here and very pointed or steep there, is an indication of whether the market is trending, also an indication whether there's money to be made on a particular security. Again, you don't want to use a price rate of change that's too slow because over 4 or 5 days, I mean, anything can happen, and you really don't want to get caught in all this noise. So I believe in my way of looking things that the price rate of change is best used for a little bit longer term view of the market rather than trying to time yourself in and out in the market. And price rate of change also works. It works on an intraday basis. You can use it on 60-minute charts. There's some other types of markets that I wouldn't use it on. If the market is range bound, like it is right here, you see how it just keeps going back and forth over the line? That's an indication of a range bound market. And that's not really a particularly good market to go and spend your money in. What you can do, though, when you see a period like this, is drop down to an hourly chart, and the trend. See how the trends start to show up much differently. Now here's a real biggie back in January. and it was at least a trending move. It wasn't a huge move, but it was very consistent going from point A to point B. And here we have, I guess you'd call this in the opposite direction, a move lower was actually, that was the biggest, from there to there is the biggest sell-off I can see so far in the last month. So again, this trajectory is very interesting to watch. It's also a question of trajectory. Do you have a lot of here? Do you have a lot of counter trends in here? See that? And we even have a little Elliott 5-wave pattern developing in there, which is kind of unusual. And here we have another little Elliott 5-wave pattern developing. So interesting stuff. That opens itself to interpretation and a lot of convergence-divergence relationships. Finally, let's take a look at the Commodity Channel Index. The Commodity Channel Index, and it's called CCI. I'm not sure. Let's see what it's called here. I probably just find it right under the word commodity. Commodity Channel Index. Now, it looks similar to the Money Flow Index, and it's used in sort of the same way. It evaluates trend direction and strength, and it's trying to show you good timing to on when you can enter, exit a position. This is a 20 period. It's a real standard CCI, and it's called Commodity Channel Index because that's the market that it was applied to when it was originally created. Now, you'll also see this is an interesting indicator. This is an unbounded indicator, which means it theoretically could go to infinity or minus infinity if such a thing exists. You see, on occasion, I mean, take a look down here. We have a minus 452 reading up here. Here we have a plus 200 reading. But if you look at price, it doesn't necessarily translate into all that meaningful. Here we have, like, I don't have the top of this plot. There we go. So there's not really that much going on. Again, this is a, maybe I shouldn't be looking at an hourly chart. We'll put this on a daily instead. And now you can see, yeah, we still have some very big peaks here. Here's a big peak up to 300. And now it's the start of a very, very strong move. Look at that. So even though we moved down back in this direction, that trend continued. So it's a question of interpretation that the breadth of the move above or below the zero line is also having some relationship to the durability of the move. So that even when we came off of this peak, there was so much momentum pushed into it that it kept on going up. Did this happen down here too? Yeah, look at this. We're down here. And no, and here it's almost bottom. No, we don't even know if it's bottoming out yet. It's not a very good sign for the moment. Okay, we're getting a little upward channel, but we're still down because we're down in the dumps at minus 215. I think you have to be careful. And we're also below the zero line, which is right here. And that zero line is sort of telling you what neutral conditions are. So here we have still negative conditions, and we have a lot of selling pressure, enough to bring it down to this low reading. So you have to be real leery about whether or not that this is going to be a buy signal or a pullback buy signal of any sort. So that's a quick rundown on the five of the many types of momentum oscillators.